Hello, everybody. So today we are going to go over the patch notes 9.0.3, or better known as Week 4. This is supposed to have the combat changes and balances. Let's really hope that Arcanist is in a much better spot, maybe even some other classes, hopefully, too. So without further ado, let's dive into Week 4. So many questions, guys. So many questions. I don't know if you have as many as me, but let's get into it. So, the Elder Scrolls Online 9.0.3 contains the highly anticipated balance adjustments for the Arcanist, along with additional bug fixes for the class and other abilities and item sets, including the issue where some monsters could not be attacked. Also included are further fixes in polishing for Necrom quests and content. Okay, so the patch size is 4 to 19 megabytes. All right. Combat and gameplay. General. Item sets and passes that activate when consuming a potion do not. Oh, is this known? Oh, these are known issues. Okay. Alright. It's not early, but it is. Item sets and passes that activate when consuming a potion do not currently activate when consuming crafted potions. Okay, bonuses that increase damage done to monsters do not currently work with proc-based damage. This is not a bug and is default behavior since their introduction to the game. But we will be monitoring this and may reevaluate this interaction. Wait, what? Okay, so damage on the monsters don't work with proc-based damage, so proc sets. Okay. Weird. Action duration timers can be reset erroneously by secondary effects. Alright, Arcanist, known issues. Remedy Cascade does not currently trigger the Healing Mage item set. Apocryphal Gate can be used to bypass some mechanics or push your character in locations where they should normally not be able to reach. Looks like they might have changed their stance on their access. I'll get into that later, depending on what they changed with Apocryphal Gate, but that's interesting. Resonating Glyphic can become untargetable in trials and dungeons. Major expedition applied by fleet-footed gate does not currently scale with ability rank. Okay. Okay, let's just look at general. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of changes to Arcanist. Oh, this is awesome. Okay. Combat and gameplay, combat and abilities, the bread and butter of what this patch should be. All right, so fix an issue that caused monsters or interactable objects to enter a state where they could not be attacked or interacted with. Okay? Fix an issue where some abilities, such as Stampede or Wound Mend, could cause health desyncs. Oh, thank God. Kind of hard to test if an ability is good or bad, whatever, if you got health desyncs on you. I don't know how many times I was watching somebody, like stream and or even when I was testing during week 1, and it was like, what's going on? Like, they have a sliver of health and they're not dying. Like, is it my ability? Is my ability bugged? Is there a health desync? Is it like, what in the is going on here? But yeah, so it looks like they kind of solved that, hopefully. Arcanist General updated the tooltips for several Arcanist abilities that have dynamic cost scaling to specify if they scale off your highest or lowest maximum resource. Yeah, there was some confusion about that on some of the abilities. So hopefully this ends that. I think some of the problem, though, is with players who there is probably too many players, and I'm really sorry to say this. I'm not trying to call anybody out or say you're an idiot or whatever. That's not the case. Not everybody has the public test server, and I understand that. But a lot of people are relying on websites that use old information. Like for a long time, I don't know if he might still use old information, but for a long time, like Outcast, the the pictures he was using for the tooltips was like the pictures that he took when I think when he was testing. And those tooltips really got adjusted almost, I wouldn't say heavily, but they got really adjusted from the time he tested to the time that, that this hit PTS in week one. So a lot of people were working off of really old information by then. So, but I'm glad to see that this got updated though. I think it needed it, even though it kind of stated it on the abilities. I still think it kind of needed something that was a little more obvious. All right, Herald of the Tome, Abysmal Impact, Flail Morph, updated this ability to heal your character upon casting. Okay, Flail has been lacking a bit in power, and we wanted to make this morph choice between it and Dread more distinct. With this additional heal, we're also hitting some of the feedback on how the class is lacking self heal options. Okay. Dread Morph increased the base damage by 20% per crux spent. This ability no longer increases the immobilize during per crux spent. It's okay. I mean, I used it for the immobilize, but as long as the immobilize is there, I don't think it lost its lust for me. Okay. We've seen a lot of feedback on how the Arcanist is lacking big bursty damage. While the class is intentionally designed that way, we made an adjustment to his ability to support some extra burst. Okay. Now, see, I like that because I do like that the class lacks some burst. It's a little different. It's not the same blueprint that we had with Warden and Necromancer, which is, I think, important because even though they're still doing damage, healing, tank, skill lines, it's it's not the blueprint of shock burst, plasma burst. It's not that very caveman like blueprint that it's just like, all right, like let's do something different. The great thing about the base game classes is they were so different from one another. you know Not every class had a burst. Some classes rely on some dots, some don't. It's just so it was really great. So I like that this class lacked a burst, but I love that they increased the damage because I think this really needed it. Okay, Fate Carver. Let's see what they did with this. Reduce the cost of this ability to 450 magicka or 338 stamina per tick from 750 magicka or 638 stamina per tick. Okay. Let's see what they say in the developer notes before I get into this. Pragmatic Fate Carver. This ability now grants a damage shield while channeling. Note that you will be immune to interrupts while the damage shield holds. Okay. So again, they're leaning into the damage shield, that the damage shield stuff of this class. This class is going to be very damage shield oriented, which is I like that. Right, Fake Cover has gotten a lot of feedback over the past few PTS patches, in particular how it is difficult to use in a solo or PvP environment. To combat these difficulties, we've decided to take pragmatic Fate Cover and give it some defensive tools, including a new unique effect and interrupt immunity. I think that's good. I'm a little concerned about the cost here because as it stands right now, with glyphs that reduce spell cost, we could get this down to 0. So I don't know if that's something that they're keeping in the game, or it looks like here they're making it easier for us, or what. But that's kind of concerning because this ability can't hit hard when it hits. If it costs 0, that's, I don't know. I'll have to see. I mean, I have to get into the PTS and really kind of get in there. All right. Faded Fortune passive. Updated the terminology used in the tooltip. Okay. Psychic Lesion passive. Updated this passive ability to grant increased status effect chance up to 75% at rank 2. Let's see what they say. We recognize this passive felt on the weaker side, so we added an increase to status effect chance to keep the feeling that the Arcanist has a greater knowledge of elements than other classes. Well, it doesn't, though. It doesn't, unless you change the damage type. I mean, how many status effects can you get? I mean, sure, if you put a glyph on, if you put a glyph on your front bar or back bar, that will proc different status effects. Okay, and then, but the only ability, unless they changed it later on, that I'm missing, the only ability that actually does a status effect and doesn't do just physical damage or magic damage is which it's well, it's just one ability, and it's a morph that does frost damage. So I don't know. I still think that this passive would be, I don't know. They need, if they're gonna stick with the status effect passive, which it is unique. I think they need to give the like some more. I hate to take away the magic damage aspect, you know, but because I like that, it's unique. But what status effects are we talking about here? The only ones you get are the ones you get from the glyphs and that one ability that does frost. So I don't know. The imperfect ring. The cost of this ability will now be based off your lowest max resource. Okay. That's interesting. The unblinking eye. Reduced the cost of this ability to 175 ultimate from 200. Fixed an issue where the ability visual effects could disappear early. And the Watcher will now be summoned above your target to aid in combat visibility instead of over your own character. I think that's really good. You know, like when it was summoned over me. I felt like it was kind of like, um, I felt like it was kind of like a really bright bird on my shoulder, and it made it really hard to see because of the graphics. So we'll see. Hopefully that's better. Soldier of Apocrypha, Aegis of the Unseen, updated to passive, updated the tooltip to specify the bonus only applies when beneficial Soldier of Apocrypha ability is active. Okay. Gibbering Shield, Gibbering Shelter more fixed an issue where the ally shield from Gibbering Shield did not count as a Soldier of Apocrypha ability. Okay. Runic Joint increased the range to 22 meters from 15 meters. Runic Embrace fix a typo in the tooltip of this morph. I think that's the one I caught on to, too. A lot of people caught on to this. Really needed it. Runic of Horror. Rune of Uncanny Adoration. Remove the snare on charmed targets. Okay. The snare was removed from this ability to allow your newfound adoring fans to get to you even faster than before. They won't be jumping off ledges to greet you, but they will still be leashed by your silver tongue. Okay. Okay. Alright, so that was the defensive. Interesting. I don't know. Interesting. This goes off your lowest max resource. Curative rune form. Did I read that right? I'm sorry. I'm getting stuck. Yeah, lowest max resource, and there's no note. It just says, yeah, now it's based off your lowest one. Okay. I mean, I guess it's different. So they have something that, excuse me, I'm sorry. It's not just all magic or all stamina. So now you have that. Now you have that ability to use your lower resource. Like I know, like on necromancer right now, like it's actually kind of nice to have abilities that cost stamina. And even though it's not my highest resource, now I have more magicka for healing and other stuff like that. All right, punitive reforms, apocryphal gate. Fix an issue where this ability and its morphs would not break stealth or invisibility when you teleported between the portals. Okay. Chakram shield. Wait, that's it for apocryphal gate. Hmm. I really expected them to say, "Oh yeah, we adjusted the access, so okay." Maybe they did that, and they're testing it, even though it's a quote known issue. It's a known issue that they're testing. Um, Chakram shields. The title Chakram. This morph no longer reduces the cost per crux. Instead, it grants a heal over time, while the damage shield holds based on the shield's remaining strength per crux spent. Okay, I mean that, like I said, the original crux spending effect on this morph wasn't impactful enough compared to other crux spenders, so we've redesigned it to be a powerful heal over time that makes the crux investment more worthwhile and gives the class some additional measure of sustained healing. I think that was something that was really missed. You know, yeah, I mean, if you morphed that other healing ability, Rune Mend, I believe it was, and it gave you a heal over time, that was really good, but it wasn't really like a heal over time. It wasn't like healing springs or rapid regen or the warden flowers or even that necro heal. It was just there. So this is nice. Remedy Cascade fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs were not considered healing abilities for both proc and passive effects. Increase the width of this ability and its morph to 4 meters from 3 meters. Okay. Okay. We buffed the radius of this ability slightly to help maintain its identity as a skill shot heal, while also addressing concerns around its healing uptime on particular mobile allies. So, cascading fortune fix an issue where this morph could not be interrupted. Okay, so at least that was a bug. I believe that this is the channel morph. I'm still getting used to the titles of the names of these abilities, but I believe this is the channel heal. And yeah, the width. Everybody was like, "Man, it's such a great heal." I'm like, "Yeah, but the width of this thing. I mean, it's literally like one person. So unless your healer has everybody stand in a straight line or just not move for a bit, it's going to be challenging. But at least this will help with that. But also, like they say, it's a skill shot heal. It's okay. I mean, at least they have other. Now we have other heal over times where this is not going to be like you need this ability. Rune Mend, fix an issue where the first heal from this ability and its morphs was not considered a single target heal. Fixed a rare issue where this ability and its morphs could cause health desyncs. Okay. Thank God. I mean, that's just. Thank you. I was wondering why this didn't hit hard. When I was casting it, I was like, man, I am not. I mean, even though it's in Battlegrounds and it's like healing's cut because of PvP. I'm like, I still feel like it's not hitting me like Breath of Life would, or that Necro self heal, or even Dragon's Blood. Like it's just not hitting me like a single target heal. It's just not. It's hitting me almost like a dot. You know, Vitalizing Glyphic The weapon and damage granted by this ability, not from this ability, and its morphs can now affect up to 12 targets. Note the healing over time still only affects 6 targets. I think that's probably a better choice. Glyphic of the Tides. This morph now also grants major protection to up to 12 targets once the glyphic reaches full health. Develop. We increase the maximum targets of this ultimate utility effect to make it a more viable choice compared to other groups' utility ultimates such as Warhorn. We're also addressing the feedback of Resonating Glyphic being the stronger morph choice due to the ratio of healers and damage dealers in group activities. So Glyphic of the Tides receives an additional bonus effect once it is fully powered to help reward healers that fully invest into pumping heals into the Glyphic. Okay. I liked it. I mean, this morph is still weird to me, honestly. I mean, this ability in general is still weird to me. I'm still kind of getting used to it, but okay, that's nice. Yeah, we'll have to see. I like that at least people that this was a bonus. That's great. For people who need it. I mean, I don't really do that bigger group content. I mean, I'll do dungeons and vet dungeons and stuff, but this is nice for PvP though. All right, no necro changes. As enemies. Anyway, at least they got stuff with Arcanist. That was the most important thing. That really was the most important thing here. Was Arcanist. Like Dragon Knight, Draconic Power, Dark Talents, Burning Talents, something, 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 all the way over here. Sorry, it's just like weird. Anyway, Burning Talents. The damage over time from this morph will now always apply to the target rather than only when they do not already have a dot active. Okay. Reduce the damage over time by approximately 27%, but increase the duration to 5 seconds up from 4. Interesting choice, I guess. Okay. I mean, I always use Burning Talons anyway, but okay. Templar, Dawn's Wrath, Backlash, something, sorry. This ability and its morphs now need 60% less total damage needed to reach their final values. Developer comment. We're lowering the amount of damage needed for these abilities to reach their big boom numbers, as they needed values that were essentially impossible to achieve in PvP to get their maximum power. The damage required will be challenging to reach in PvP environments, and in most cases where opponents are taking countermeasures to deny or mitigate the applier's pressure, the damage will still not reach the maximum amount. We are doing this intentionally so Templars retain a weakness in some capacity. We'll continue to monitor this value and adjust accordingly if necessary. After we get more data from live servers with how this change interacts with other boss class. See, I think this is good, but at the same time, this is the problem with the PTS. I can't remember the last time. Well, I can. I'm lying. I think I said this before, so I've lied twice to you. But the last time that they did we had a significant amount of people testing in Cyrodiil was when we were facing off against the devs, like many, many, many years ago. We're talking like it was like 2016, 2017 or something like that. Like it was a long time ago. And ever since then, it went back to Cyrodiil really is just for duels. That's it. I mean that's the only thing you'd really use it for. So I don't know. I like this, but Templars sucks because there's not a humongous active PvP and going on in the PTS to adjust this for them. This has to hit live like this so they can make the adjustments. Unless somebody watches this that unless somebody watches this that, you know, is in a big PvP guild, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just kind of eh. All right, so weapons, bow, arrow spray, acid spray. The damage over time from this morph will now always apply to the target rather than only when they do not already have the dot active. Reduce the damage over time by approximately 27%, but increase the duration to 5 seconds up from 4. So this got the talents treatment, basically. Interesting. All right, companions. All right. Fix an issue where companion ultimate abilities appeared to be influenced by the Power Stone passive ability. Sleep Mail. When Sharp casts Sleep Mail, he now applies a 20% reduced damage taken buff. It will still apply Major Resolve to up to 5 other allies. The reduced damage taken buff and Major Resolve will now have a duration of 6 seconds. Quests between a rock and a whetstone. Polish the quest sequence in the Daedric Ruins. Daedric Ruins, I read stupidly. Updated Herkrigs? Do they purposely make names weird? Like, let's make a name entirely impossible. Like, let's just throw two names together that aren't really names and just go with it. Conversation so that you can no longer loop it forever. Pass unlocked, fix an issue where NPCs would interrupt each other on the quests. Alright, I'm not reading all of these, but good to know. Not really huge in the. I mean, I love questing, so that's wrong, but I'm not really huge into reading fix an issue. With these, it's as long as they hit and they're not like lore breaking or game breaking. I'm pretty game with it. Okay, mythic items. Esoteric environment grieves. This will now only this set now only reduces the damage taken from direct damage rather than all damage. This set now only activates when you are above 50% stamina, up from 33. Reduce the stamina drained when taking direct damage to 968 on hit, down from 1567. Reduce the cooldown of the stamina loss on hit to 0.25 seconds, down from 0.5. Okay. That is a lot of words. This set was aimed at offering a form of damage reduction that operates like block. So we've reined in the effectiveness of and behavior to more closely mirror it, rather than allowing it to apply to things outside of expectations and experiences the game already accounts for. This should make the set much easier to engage with and simpler to understand, while also ensuring it cannot allow weavers to become nearly as godlike as they could before. This should also make the set better against singular or low hit counter attackers, but weaker against multiple or high hit counter attackers by draining stamina less on impact, but also the ability to drain much faster. Okay. The Lothi Mage Amulet reduced the amount of offensive penetration this set grants to 1650 down. Wow, that is a huge. I don't know why, but I expected it to say like 18 whatever. I forgot that this is the set that does that. That's that's a pretty decent drop. This set now grants minor force while worn, rather than increasing your critical damage done by a unique 15%. Okay. After getting numbers and feedback on the set, we've noticed a lot of power this set was enabling was outside of its intended power. where we wanted to ensure players gained a solid amount of damage to mitigate the losses of nearly of not perfectly weaving while not overtaking those type of builds. From what we've seen, this set was doing that and will continue to do so after the changes, while reining in a lot of the power and potential to use this set as an easy win for area of effect encounters where light attacks and uh, non-lightning staff heavy attacks already see a fall off in damage production. This keeps the set meaningful to use for its targeted goals while making it the best option for many situations it wasn't designed around. Oh, what do you guys think? I didn't really plan on using this mythic, honestly. But what do you guys think who are planning on using that? Are you upset by this? Are you like, well, hey, I can still use it, but crap, like, what do you guys think? I didn't plan on using it, so I mean, I don't know. I mean, that seems fair to me because now it grants minor force, but maybe you're disappointed by it. Let me know. Trial sets test of resolve. This set now procs when you take damage under 50%, up from 35. Okay. Reduce the cooldown to 45 seconds, down from 1 minute. Okay. The changes are made to help the set more readily available and reliable. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Transformative Hope. This set now activates when healing a target under 50%, up from 40% to make it slightly easier to activate. Okay. No, whatever. Some fix an issue. Pages can now be heard when seekers slip through books. Cool. I mean, that wasn't the biggest thing, but that's cool. I love Hermaeus Mora. It's pretty much the only reason why I bought Necrom. That and the fact that I bought the version that came with High Eye. So it's like getting two chapters in one for me. I mean, that's really beneficial. I mean, I didn't really buy this for Arcanist because I already have other classes that I will still continue to play. I'll have an Arcanist, but I mean, it will be something I probably very slowly like level. Dungeon group content. As you guys know, I really don't do trials that much. So I will pause right here so you guys can read this and let me know in the comments below what you think about these changes. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever. All right. Exploration and itemization. Fix an issue, okay. Sanity's Edge, weekly coffers now grant the word try, okay. Fix an issue, okay. Change the name of Sharp as Knight's keepsake to avoid confusion with its granted perk, okay. I'm getting down to the nitty gritty here, basically. I really don't want to be spoiled on the main quest, so I'm not reading that. Unless that's the main quest. Nope. Necrom. So I saw the word Necrom. Mm. How do you guys feel about the Bastion Mimics? Let's see. The fix an issue where you could not get the optional dialogue with Ordinator Tandessa on certain variants of the Bastion Mimic dailies. Herald Seekers no longer teleport if they are close to their least range. I mean, okay, so here's my thing with Bastion Mimics. I don't know what you guys feel about them, but I've been reading up on them. I haven't really found one in game yet. Mostly because I don't have a ton of time for PTS. I had some days off that I planned around during week one, so I could really test, and I just couldn't find them after that, like because I didn't have a lot of time. But from what I've gathered, that this is Max's answer to harder overlaying content. And while I applaud that because I feel like even though I don't really fit into that category. I mean, I like difficult things, but I also like to have fun. So this doesn't apply to me. People who love harder overland content, that love this, that's great. But I'm just thinking, okay, what are like 6 months to a year from now when the zone is dead? Is anyone even going to do these anymore? I mean, you look at other world events, people still do dragons, but that's only for dragon ream or whatever it's called. I hate the word ream, but it's funny to me. I think that the portals in Blackwood are the Oblivion portals are really cool. Public, like a public dungeon thing. I think that's really cool. But I mean, are people going to be doing these? Are they going to be like Hero Storms? And people, certain groups do still do kind of Hero Storms, but I don't know. The fact that it's like limited to 4 people, right? Still, I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me. Wait, so some changes to Marsalok, the lair of Marsalok dungeon, not the set. Interesting. Changes the runes of Mazatown or Mazzarella. I'm pretty sure that's still called that. Zeal of Zenithar fixed the gold amount required to complete the Guild Trader transaction to 10,000 as is now intended to be. Okay. Well, whatever. It's still a fun event, I think. Fixed erroneous housing category assignments on several new furnishings. Apocrypha nightstand. Necrom lamp. So they basically fixed where these should be. That's nice. Hey, Rizzo, you want to say hi to everybody? Yeah? What else you gonna say, buddy? I know it's lunchtime, buddy. I'm almost done. I'm right at the bottom, see? They're starting to talk about quests and housing. That's the boring stuff. I'm almost done, buddy. I promise. It's my cat Rizzo. He's a good boy. See? At the bottom. I wasn't lying. Alright, so interesting changes. I feel a little better about Arcanist. Um Getting back up there, I probably should just um feel a little better about Arcanist. I still think that it does need some help with damage, but we'll have to see. Especially with Dread and Flail changes, how those affect things. Fake Carver, how this affects. I mean, will this get down to 0? Even easier? I mean, interesting changes. I like them. I think it's at least a start. Giving more heals and really showing that they're listening to feedback. At least with this class. I mean, there's no Necromancer changes, so that's kind of disappointing. I mean, Skulls is still slow, but I get it. You want to focus on the new class that probably has more issues. This class definitely has more issues going into it than Necromancer does right now, so I get the focus. But what do you guys think? Are you guys excited going forward into the next week? Will you guys be testing? I'm gonna try to test, but my schedule's really busy. Obviously, I do have videos. I will hopefully be doing. I was waiting for this week to do the defensive abilities, and the healing abilities that I did with the offensive ones. In retrospect, I probably should have waited for these changes for the offensive one too. But I was excited. I'll probably cover some of the changes in one of those videos, so keep an eye out for those. I'll probably hopefully get those recorded today. Um, but you guys excited, happy, indifferent? I think it's a step forward. You know, I think it's a step forward, and that's important. And it looks like they really were listening to feedback, so that's also important. So I'm excited. My hope is restored at least a little bit for Arcanist. We'll have to see what the next week brings. There are 6 weeks in PTS apparently now, so that wasn't just a one-time thing years ago. So that's good. But still, this is week 4, so we only have 5, and then whatever hits week 6 is usually more or less what's going to hit live. It's just a few, usually the last week, and maybe things have changed, but usually the last week is just it's just kind of like polishing things up for what's going to hit live servers. So we'll have to see what hits next week, because the week after is that one. That's the last PTS week. So any sort of changes that these changes bring, if there's any bugs or whatever, that will have to be addressed next week. I'm kind of hoping still for some damage changes. I do get that they the whole purpose of the class was to not have a burst ability, and I do applaud that, because you need something different than the blueprint you have now for classes that are brought in. You can't be using the same blueprint. And what I mean by blueprint is, a spammable, a burst, a dot, a whatever, a pressure. You need something different. I do like the damage healing tanking thing though. I do. I know some people don't, but I do actually like that. It just makes things easier. I mean, when we first started this game, the base classes, you couldn't do all of them. I mean, yeah, DK healers is still weird, but they work. So I don't know. So I do like that aspect of the blueprint, but the other part is like, okay, yeah, great. A spammable that's too slow, a a burst that doesn't work, you know, a pressure that's kind of and a dot that's situational. Great, wonderful. I applaud that. But so they've gotten away from that, and I like that. So we'll have to see. I'll be testing this going forward, giving my thoughts in other videos, of course. So, anyway, I made this video long enough for you guys. Now that I bored you to tears, go about your day. Have a good day, and I will see you in the next one.